If you were thinking of getting out of debt this year, then this is the video for you.
Why would
Language
you
such
not want to
as
do it if somebody is telling you you can repay what you currently owe the bank at a
yes.
0% interest
Hey
rate?
family, Lucian Godfrey here, and welcome to this week's episode of the Lucian Godfrey podcast. Now, previously we touched on this subject, and this morning or today we have two experts when it comes to debt education. So in studio, I've got with me Renee de Villiers and
Hi,
Dana Els.
Hello there.
How are you guys doing?
very good. Thank you. Thanks for having
Very
us.
good, thank you.
Thank you for taking the time out to be here and educate our audience on this sensitive topic. But like I always say that if you haven't found yourself in a position to need this education, then you are not South African. So it's best to obviously get the education and not land there. But if you are there already, then who best to speak with?
100%.
That's right.
Hi everyone, I'm Justine Fontaine, the founder of Justine's Kitchen, a division of Wellspring Collective, and today I'm at Cinematic Edge Studios with no other than Lucian Godfrey, and what an amazing experience this was for us, my very first shoot, very professional. So if there's anything that you need, whether it's a business photo, family photo, I've also got my husband in studio and he also had the experience for the very first time. What an amazing studio this is, as well as professional business video shoots and etc. This was my very first, so it was an amazing experience to record, and all the extras that was in it feels as if I'm on the TV or as a representative. So yeah, don't hesitate, book your session now. Thanks Lucian, thanks Cinematic Edge Studios.
Why debt education?
Let's start with me quickly. I worked for a credit provider for 18 years, the previous company that I worked for. So it's a total different spectrum to what we're doing now. And there's definitely people out there that needs help. People doesn't realize that there is places that can help you, and that is what debt counseling is. It's there specifically to help consumers that's over indebted, and hence the fact that I saw there is a need for people to be helped, and then I did my debt counseling course, and that's why I'm sitting here today.
Yeah, I think to add to Renee, I'll introduce myself first. So I'm Gaynor Else, and I've been in the debt counseling industry for 16 years already. So started in 2009, so a very long time, from the beginning, yeah. And I was actually retrenched. My daughter was born in December and went back to work the 4th of May the following year after maternity leave, and was retrenched 2 weeks later. So I had a newborn baby and was retrenched 2 weeks after returning back to work. No pay during that maternity leave either. So it was quite a challenging time. And I was approached by friends of ours that were opening a debt counseling company, and asked, I was unemployed and didn't know which way to go at that point in time, and was then asked if I wouldn't be interested to do the course. So I did it purely because I had nothing else to do at that point in time. Yeah, so then started doing debt counseling, and I think so that's why I started doing it.
Yes.
Okay, that's why I started. But what kept me there was, I think since the first client, it's just realizing when you get to, because obviously when people come and see you, the anxiety and the stress that surrounds them is quite significant. And when you take that away from people, I think that job satisfaction cannot be replaced by anything else. It's above and beyond anything that you can explain to somebody. It really is a passion for helping people, being able to see that relief draining into people is something that keeps you there. It's like a drug on its own. It really is. That's the reason why I stay. And I think that kind of rubbed off on Renee. She's always been, she's always had this idea. She wants to help people and she wants to work with people. And when we started chatting in the beginning, earlier this year, and she said, well, this is her ideas, this is what she's thinking. I said, why don't you just do debt counseling? You'd be brilliant at it, because she's got the same love for people and the same love for for helping as I do. And here we are, match made in
Yeah,
heaven.
and now we're ready to start changing people's lives, one at a time for the better.
Hi family, thank you so much for watching this video. Please do subscribe so you can be notified the next time when we upload a video. Because if you do not subscribe, then you will not be notified and you may never see our content again. So please do support us by subscribing, and thank you so much for your continued support. I like the fact that you are mentioning that one at a time, because oftentimes you want to be everywhere, but it's at one person at a time. On my previous episode, I shared that even I found myself back in the day to actually need debt counseling. And I went under a debt review, myself and my wife. And when I explained that, afterwards, the person asked me, that story that you told, is it true? Because she looks at where God has brought us now, and I'm like, yeah, I was there. Is it true?
Exactly that. It's exactly that. It's there to help you.
Yes, and people feel like, you know what, I'm the only person in this. Maybe you don't want to expose yourself because
People are very shy and embarrassed about financial, talking about anything financial.
Sure.
And if you really understood, I've had so many people that have come to see me and it's like, oh, I feel so embarrassed to be here. And then they want to try and explain why they are in the situation. And by the end of it, then they're like, I don't know why I didn't come see you a long time ago. Then
Yes.
that's exactly it. You should have. Because and this is why we are so passionate about getting the word out there. It's not about advertising. Yes, obviously that's an additional part to it, but it's the education that surrounds it. If people understand it better, they won't wait till it's too late before they end up going to debt review, and then they save themselves months of panic and stress. And they can actually just go and find the relief that they so desperately need because they understand it better. So it's education. There's a lot of bad things surrounding debt review, and that based on a process that started many years ago, and I'm sure we'll still get into that. But
Yes.
there's so much has changed in the industry, and if we don't educate people on those changes, we're never going to get the results that we need, and that is educated people in the sense this is not scary, this is not embarrassing, this is
Yes.
something you should be very proud of because you've taken control of a bad situation.
Yeah, and I would also like just to add there's no shame in asking for help. Because when you go for debt counseling, you're asking someone to help you, to assist you. And we've got a saying, we deal with your creditors so you can deal with life.
Yeah.
So we're taking
like
it upon
that.
ourselves to help you. And that is exactly what it is.
You know, when you say we deal with your creditors so you can deal with life, because so many times you would find that people are only thinking of when are they going to call, what am I going to do, what am I going to say,
Lots and
etc.
lots
And you
of
know
stress.
how it goes. I mean, the creditors are phoning from 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. The phone starts ringing already. Tonight at 7, 8 o'clock, you're trying to sit and have dinner with your family, and they're still phoning. It's right through the day. There's no stopping them. They like wild animals, ready to feed off the carcass.
Yeah,
It's
and the stress
crazy.
accompanied by that, it's stress on your family life, on your marriage, your work. You can't concentrate because it's the constant stress is there. And that's why I'm saying we'll deal with it. We are capable enough to deal with it. So
Well,
we'll
that's
deal
our
with
job.
we'll deal with your creditors, you deal with life.
And obviously, you obviously know all the rules and the regulations and the laws, and sometimes people don't even know their rights. So I can see why the need for your services, obviously. Now, the reason I believe that the reason why many people feel ashamed of basically needing the services is because you feel like, you know what, am I a failure, etc. I'm sure that this happens a lot, and I can remember when I got out of school, this one retailer with a red square, before you even have any education of anything, then they offer you everything. Now you're young, you just got your first job, and before you know it, 18 years later, you never got out of it.
You know that I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I'm going to start by saying that I think it is just poor education. Poor education from children all the way up to adults. I mean, if I just go back, we're very similar in age. I'll say it. But my parents never discussed finances in the household with us. It was a forbidden topic. There were many forbidden topics, but that was one of them. You didn't discuss finances as a household. So we didn't grow up. There was always just, no, there isn't money, or no, that's above our means, or that was it. There was nothing more discussed. Where I think it's important from a young age that children should be aware of the expenses. I mean, my kids turned around, and I've got grown kids. My kids are 18 and 16, almost 17 and 19. And my son turned around the other day and said, but I mean, you guys pay like 2,000 Rand for our bond every month. And I was like, what? 2,000 Rand? That's less than we pay on insurance. But it's just how they don't understand these things. And we then realize that it's time to sit down and actually go through budgets with them. And every time you want to invite 10 friends over,
those things cost money because it's 10 extra mouths to
Yeah.
feed. And going through daily budgets, that's important in a child's life, is making them understand what a household's finances actually consists of, so that they're part of it. They're part of the understanding, they're part of the conversations, and that way they are educated in understanding where money goes and what all life what it entails to be a grown up.
Yeah.
And then
Sorry, just to add on that, I think I scarred my son by doing exactly that. I took my payslip and my husband's payslip, and I said, come sit here. And I made a list of everything. I said, this is what we get in. This is what we pay out every month. This is all our debt, house, car, insurance, all that things. And this is what we've got left. Now you tell me you want something with that money. You need that for something. And he just don't ask. He just don't ask because he knows exactly what's going on, and that comes with education. With educating,
it starts from a very young age.
And start in your own household, and take it from there.
Yeah, so I think education is key. And then education as we go along, we go study after school, and nobody at any given point in time when you reach the end of your studies is going to sit down and say to you, okay, now you're going to finish off, you're going to get your first job. Do you know what life entails thereafter? I mean, fancy cars, and everyone wants to have a new car. Everyone wants to have fancy clothes when they start working. So your red square, but in all fairness, that's the conversation that he's had. Before you can buy a car, you have to open a clothing account, and that's the place that you would go to open a clothing account, and you've got to build up a credit record first before you can buy a car. And that's the normal thing that everybody's been told, and the problem is lack of education, and that will always be my stance. And again, I say this is the reason why we want to talk as much as we can, is to educate people. We want to be in schools, we want to be talking to children, explaining to them what debt is and what it entails, what living expenses are and what that entails. Because the more you educate people, the more we can actually fix things going forward.
What are some of the common mistakes that people are actually making out there? Because the big thing that people want to buy is a house or a car. And you've mentioned now that, you first need to get these clothing accounts in order to build a credit score. But how can people actually do it correctly?
I think for my clients, especially after debt review, there's certain things that I do refer them to. So you need to have an account to build up a credit record, especially when you finish school. But look at the type of account that you have, that you're opening. So my suggestion and my thought process around it is there are magnificent products out there, but something that is almost serviced on a monthly basis. So I'll use a credit card, for example. There are other service providers out there that has a buy aid facility. Let me put it to you that way. Something like that, where you're utilizing it on a monthly basis, but you're also settling it in full at the end.
Yes.
Without interest. So a credit card, for example, I go and open a small little credit card. I know my living expenses, so my groceries and my toiletries and my whatever else there is. I mean, let's use the Blue Bank, for example.
Yes.
We can't always name them, eh? But I mean, they've got a magnificent second tier product that added on. If you use your credit card to purchase at Dis-Chem and Checkers and things like that, then you get extra points for it. And if you put that money into your credit card every month and you utilize that for your living expenses, and then at the end of the month comes, you put that money back into it. You're utilizing a credit facility and you are building up a decent credit record, but you also but you're not using debt to do that.
Yes,
So
yes,
you're not
yes.
starting on a negative immediately when you finish school. You've got something that's giving you a credit record. It's showing that you're managing your account correctly and you're doing a good job at it, but you're utilizing it for the day-to-day things that you would have been using it for anyway. And then if the day comes where, oh, my washing machine broke and I don't quite have the whole amount, then I use my credit card to buy it, but I pay it back as quickly as I possibly can. It's not going to lie there for the next 60 months,
Yes.
trying to pay back a washing machine that I'm now almost having to replace again, but still paying for the last one. So I think HPs and personal loans, overdrafts, things like that, we should be wary of in the beginning. Start with something like a credit card or a buyer aid facility where you're building up a nice credit record, but you're not putting yourself in debt. That's just it's a way of building up your credit record, your credit profile.
Just to add on that as well, have the one account. Why have 10 accounts? People normally go out and say, okay, I'll take this on credit and this installment is this little amount, and I take out another account where this installment is this little amount. That all adds up. And
Yeah.
at the end of the month, you're sitting with nothing left because all that small amounts with different accounts adds up to a big amount. So start off with one account and see how you can pay that one off as quickly as possible.
Yes.
Because you save on the interest and then look at something else. But yeah, I think too many accounts and at the same stage, that can really harm you.
And being an ostrich and sticking your head in the sand because nobody wants to do a budget, because you do them in your head, it works perfectly fine. The minute you put pen to paper, it's reality. So I think that's the second biggest mistake is the first thing you need to start doing is a budget. Teach yourself how to budget. Write everything down, have a spreadsheet that you utilize every month. You put your income in there and everything that you're obligated to pay every month. And do it. If you're putting away 2,000 Rand a month for petrol, take that 2,000 Rand, even if you put it in envelopes, you're not putting it in every month, pay it into your credit card because you're going to use your credit card then to put the petrol into your car. But leave it there. Don't let it bother anyone. If you don't utilize the full 2,000 Rand, you've still got 500 Rand left at the end of the month, then you've got an extra 500 Rand. You know what? If you carry on building that up, if you want to go away in December, you've got no extra expenses because your petrol's actually been seen to through the year. You've saved in that regard. It definitely is budgeting. Budgeting is the most important thing. Clothing, you take a allowance per month and say, I want to put away 500 Rand a month because I want to be able to buy myself winter clothes and I want to buy myself summer clothes. But that money, again, gets put into your credit card. You're getting interest on that amount that's lying there that's not being utilized. We're winning all the way to the bank here. And then when you do want to go and spend some money and you want to splurge out, you don't have to go to one store because I've got one store card. I have a credit card with all my money that I've saved in there. And now I can go to 10 different shops and I can go buy whatever I want from wherever I want at the best possible price too. I'm not obligated to buy from one specific place. So budgeting is very important. And we'll go back to open the one account that's going to best serve you going forward.
Guys, this is gold right here. The reason why I say this is I was hoping that I'm going to get that response, but I'm not feeling like I'm speaking to Renee here or I'm speaking to Gaino. I feel like I'm speaking to Debtsmart because you both speak the same language.
Yes.
And it's exactly the answer that I hope that you guys are going to give, because if you have one card, like your credit card, then because that is what basically works for me at this point of time. And so when I tell
you were taught through a process.
yes, it taught through
You
a
had to
process.
learn that.
Yes, and I made mistakes, and people are like, "Did you really go under debt review?" Yes, I went under debt review. Now, one of the reasons also that people are reluctant to reach out to you guys is that they think that after debt review, I will never be able to make debt again.
That's so wrong. That's totally wrong.
Very, very wrong. So, again, it is one of those past mistakes. I think we should start by explaining that debt review in South Africa started in 2007. The National Credit Act came into effect in 2007 in South Africa. So, trying to get a new law passed obviously took its time, but it was passed in 2007. And then you've got a process that nobody knew how to work.
Yeah.
I mean, here's debt review. The Act says there's debt review available to consumers that are over indebted. But what does that mean? So when we started off in 2007 doing courses, and it was a 1 week course, you did the basic information of the Credit Act, and then you would go out into the big wide world and you would be a qualified debt counselor. That is a very scary thought.
Yeah.
But so many mistakes were made. I think that's the point.
Yes.
Is that many mistakes were made in that time, but through the mistakes we learned a lot as well. And the process has evolved to a point where I couldn't tell you that I could be prouder of anything in my life other than being a debt counselor in today's times versus 2007, 2008, 2009, all the way through to, go as far as, geez, like 2018, because that's when things really started to change. So misconceptions are based, they're not really misconceptions, they're based on information from people that were under the process many years ago, and
Yes.
they don't have much good things to say, because we do still have thousands and thousands. I think the last number that we got was 250,000 people in debt review that aren't actively paying. So those are people that went under debt review, and are still stuck in the process because
Yeah.
they've never been able to get out of it. So how the process currently works is, with debt review, I'm going to be making my payment every month. So we've done the whole process. We've worked out what your payment's going to be. We've done a proposal. That proposal's gone to court. We've now got a court order that enforces that payment plan. So my payment plan says I'm going to pay you 100 Rand a month at a such and such percent interest rate. That is enforced. Okay, now the credit provider by law has to update the credit bureau every month.
Yes.
They have to send that information through to the credit bureau. So every month they're updating the credit bureau saying, I've made my payment, Gaynell's made her payment, she's made the full payment. That difference of the original payment and what I'm paying currently is not a short payment. The court
Yes.
order enforces the new payment plan.
Yeah.
So I'm making the correct payment every month. I'm making payment every month. So that information on the credit bureau means that it's just bettering your credit score. So the only thing that's stopping you is the fact that you're under debt review. So as soon as you've paid up all your debt and you now exit the debt review process, that debt review hold is taken off and your credit score is sky high. So we've actually just had a client of ours that has done a podcast too, where he explains his journey through debt review. And he went 2 weeks after finishing debt review and bought a brand new car for his wife. Without having to open the Red Square store card.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
because
Amazing.
Andy had the proof that he's got his clearance certificate and everything, so that is possible.
So you're not in debt review forever. So I like to explain debt review this way, and nobody's ever going to change my mind. Debt
Sure.
review, the process of debt review is like a laundromat. We are the laundromat of debt. So we get the dirty laundry in, we clean it up, and we take it out the other side clean, folded up, ready to go into your cupboard. There we go. That's what debt review is to get you in, clean you up, and spit you out clean on the other side, so you can re-enter the credit market. Because if you're not re-entering the credit market, what's happening to our economy?
Yeah.
So that's the process of debt review, is we just need to clean you up and get you back into the market.
I want to shine the light on the fact that your credit score in cases should you be paying on time. So that happened for me as well. I struggled to buy a house, to buy a car, get financing. And as soon as I got out of debt review, then I was able to do that within less than a year.
Yes.
Wonderful.
So
So the process worked.
the process worked. No, definitely, 100%. I'm not saying this because I want to get business from it or for whatever reason. I'm sharing this, my story, because I know that someone out there can actually be helped.
Benefit. Yeah.
I
They can
couldn't
benefit
sell a
from it.
product if I didn't believe in it myself.
Yeah.
And I've seen too many good stories. I know there are the scary negative ones
Yes.
too. And unfortunately, those are the ones that are most spoken about. But I would never be able to sit here and sell something to someone if I knew it wasn't as good as what I believe it to be. And I wouldn't be doing it after 16 years if I didn't believe in the process. It is a brilliant process.
After 16 years in this industry, I'm sure that you have seen or you've been the superhero to many people out there. Mention one specific client that, you guys really came through for that specific person.
Well, I think
No names necessarily,
well, I
but
mean, we call him Mr. K because
Okay.
he's, like I said, there is a podcast that he's just done now where he tells his own story as
Sure.
well of his struggles with debt review and why he ended up there. And his success story and going through the whole process. I mean, when we originally met and he said to me, I can't believe you saying this process is 5 years. And I said, yes. And he said, I don't believe it. I said, well, you can only trust me. That's the best you've got at this point in time. And after 3.5 years, he managed to. So his whole story is that he lost his car in a couple of years ago. 2 years ago, we had that big rain in PE. And his car actually flooded in his backyard to the point where, if I say
Wow.
flooded, the only thing you could see was the roof of his car sticking out. And so and that was the reason he went under debt review, was because he was on the brink of losing his car and his house. And the first thing he said to me was, I can't afford to lose my car. And I said to him, no, you're not losing anything. Okay, we've got this. Just calm down. We've got this. And so his car was his pride and joy, and then unfortunately nature took
Yes.
over, and he ended up losing his car anyway. So now he didn't have a car. Thank goodness his employer was kind enough to give him a car to use in the interim, a company car, and he took that extra money that he had and he just kept putting it into the debt and trying to pay off as quick as he possibly could. And he managed to get out of debt review in 3.5 years.
Wow.
3.5 years later, he was debt-free and bought himself a very fancy, bought his wife a very fancy new
Yeah.
car, better than the one that they had.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, just hearing this testimonial, I even feel like going under that heavy again. But knowing that, someone has been helped, and this is what people need out there. Yes, people have been hurt through promises that has been made and maybe it didn't happen. But there are people out there with integrity, such as you guys at Debtsmart, and we thank you for actually taking out every day working on this. Now, one thing that I would like to mention that I would like for you guys to comment on is that yes, this question always comes up. So people want to know, what? If I have a bond, if I have a finance car,
Vehicle finance.
vehicle financing, will I be able to save on my monthly repayment? Will I need to, is it possible to actually bring that payments down per month?
So I'm burning as I'm sitting here because I was really hoping you were going to ask something like that. So the exciting part about debt review and how the process works. So there's a system called DCRS. And what DCRS does is it reduces the interest rates of the accounts in order to reduce the installment of the account. Okay. So that applies to unsecured debt as well as your secured debt, which is obviously your home loan and your vehicle. Unsecured debt, however, which is anything and everything, overdraft, personal loan, credit cards, store accounts, everything other than a bond and a car, could possibly be reduced to 0% interest rate with a repayment term of 5 years. So the maximum term, so it works on a sliding scale. So whatever I owe over 5 years,
Yes.
it will reduce the interest rate up until the point where you can afford to pay. So if I can afford to repay my debt over 48 months, it will stop at 48 months and your interest rate might be 10%. Let's say your situation is a lot worse and it has to take it all the way through to 60 months. The interest rate at that point is 0%. So you can pay back all your unsecured debt over a 5-year period at a 0% interest rate.
Wow.
And bonds and cars are reduced to prime lending rate. So currently that's about, I think if my mind allows me to, about 9% at the moment. So your interest rate on your car and your bond will come down to 9%. So whatever it currently is, so that's what makes the difference there. So for that 5-year period, your interest rate is brought down, and then once all the other debt is paid up and the only thing remaining is your
Yes.
bond, you can obviously then exit the debt review process, and then terms and conditions apply again on your bond, so you will just go back to contractual interest and whatever it is at that point in time. So yes, it does reduce based on interest reduction.
You know, I don't want to
You see why I get
basically
excited.
yes, because no one has explained it like that to me. It is so crystal clear, and I don't want to basically be saying, you know what, others are not doing a good job out there, but no one has explained it in layman's
Why would
language,
you
such
not want to
as
do it? If somebody is telling you you can repay what you currently owe the bank
Yes.
at a 0% interest rate, and it's you're going to be stuck in the process until the day you paid off your debt. That is unfortunate. If that is the negative of debt review, then I
Yes.
promise you that is the negative of debt review. If you're going to ask me next, and I hope you do, I'll give you the rundown of the negatives of debt review. But that is one of them, is that unfortunately you have to complete the process. It is a program that you enter, and you've got to complete that program in order to get the 0% interest
Yes.
rate. So you've got to go through the program, you've got to settle all the debt, but taking into account if anything changes at any given point in time. So I have got a new job and I'm now getting 5,000 Rand more than what I was getting. I want to put that into my debt. The more you pay, remember there's zero interest here, the more I pay, the quicker I pay the debt off, which means that I then just reduce the term. And now I can be out of debt review in 3 years. Or like Mr. K, in
Yeah,
3.5 years was out of debt review because of a change in his circumstances that led to him paying more on his debt and then taking it from a 5-year process to a 3.5-year process.
And and also to add to that, as Gaino mentioned now, then one of the negatives is that people are going to ask, so I won't be able to get a new credit card, or I won't be able to get a loan, I won't be able to get a store account. The reason why you at debt review is because you had all that
Too much.
facilities. You had too much. So give yourself a breather for 5 years and rebuild yourself before thinking of getting more accounts or more debt.
I think that part of it, and we might be jumping the gun here terribly, but that part of it as well is when people say to me, but then I won't be able to open another account while I'm under debt review, then I think to myself, okay, or then I say, but now, do you think if you had to apply for anything now, the way your credit profile currently looks, would you qualify for more debt? No. Then what's stopping you? There's nothing stopping you because you're not going to get that debt anyway because of the current situation or what the current status of your credit profile doesn't allow for you to get more debt.
Sure.
So yeah, it's such a brilliant process. It really, really is exciting.
And something
Very
else,
exciting.
credit providers, they don't care if you can afford that payment.
No.
They get the sale, they get that store account that you open, they get their interest on it. So irrespective if you can afford that installments at the end of the month, they're not going to say, listen, think about yourself. You only got a few rands left. Don't open this account or don't get this loan. They would never do that. So it's on yourself to make that decision. Do I
the
really
Credit
need
Act,
this?
The Credit Act does have strong rules and regulations around qualifying for debt.
Yeah.
So hopefully they have qualified for it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
You know-
if they qualify for it, they will get it. And I mean, it's like consolidation loans, for example. I think that's also one thing that if you ask me what I really don't like about debt in general
Yes.
is that word consolidation loan. Because now I'm going to make a big loan to go and pay off all my little ones.
Okay.
But when you're doing that consolidation loan, who's closing those other little accounts for you? Nobody. It's on you to do that. So now I've got one big loan. I've got 10 little ones, but I can still use them. So now I've settled all of them, but now my child needs to go on a rugby camp. And now what am I going to do? I still have that credit card. Oh, it's still there. I can just take from it and then I'll pay it back at the end of the month. No, we don't do that because now that loan, that consolidation loan is coming off bulk every month. And now I've gone into my credit card and I've taken some money out of there. And now I'm sitting with a little bit more. Now the children need new school clothes because it's January and we've got to have the grey pants and the school shoes so we go to the store account and we go and buy all the school clothes and school shoes and everything there. Now we've got that, but I'm going to pay it back in February when I get my bonus. Now that doesn't happen. It's normal
Cycle.
things. It's not This is not something to be embarrassed about. Everybody does it. There's nobody that's going to tell you that they haven't done it somewhere along the line in their life. Times are tough. Children are demanding.
Life happens.
Life happens. I think that's the most important. Life happens. And these things happen. So consolidation loan is like a swear word to me, because when someone says, I think I'm rather going to go the consolidation route, then I think, oh, please don't, because you're going to end up coming back to me anyway in a
In a
year's
worse-
time
Yes.
with more debt than what you currently have. Just fix it now, and then you can be debt free as quickly as what you allow yourself to be. But yeah, that's
We've spoken about the pros when it comes to debt review. We've also mentioned basically the fact that one con is obviously where you are not able to make debt, but it's obviously for your good. But what are some of the other
Negatives.
negatives when it comes to it? Because people listening, and they would just want to know that before they make such a big decision.
100%. I mean, and they're important to know as well, that it's every person should ask those questions. So obviously understanding that once you enter the process, you can't exit the process until the only remaining account that you have is a bond. So if you don't have a bond and you've only got store cards and credit cards and personal loans and overdrafts, as soon as all that debt is settled, you can exit the debt review process. So you can't decide in a year's time, oh, you know what, things are looking a bit better for me now. I'd rather want to pay my own debt. The debt review status will stay there until such time when all the debt is settled, and you then exit by means of a clearance certificate. So that's the only way of getting out of debt review. So that's the one negative. And again, I say, if anyone looks at these things as negatives, as bad negatives, then the process has not been explained to you properly. The second negative would be, so if I'm giving you a 0% interest rate, talking from a credit provider's perspective, obviously monthly payments are an obligation. It's non-negotiable. So the problem is, if you do skip payments, then the creditors are allowed to terminate your debt review, and they can then implement the contractual agreement again and take legal action against you. So it is vital important that you making payment every single month, that you're making the correct payment as per your agreed amount, and that you do so up until such time when all the debt is settled in full. And that's pretty much the negatives of debt review.
That doesn't sound like negatives to me, because it all
100%.
works to your benefit.
Yes.
Obviously.
100%.
You are married into community of property. How does this affect us?
Renee, do you want to answer?
Well, if you're married in community of property, your spouse will also have to go under debt review, unfortunately. So both of you will have to enter into debt review, and will have to put both of you through the process.
So in community of property is a one-pot process. So
Yeah.
when we married in community of property, it means that I'm liable for your debt, you're liable for mine. The unfortunate situation with that is that when I go and open the account, nobody asks my husband or my wife to sign the application form when I'm making the debt. But when it goes into debt review, now all of a sudden, everyone must know that you're going in debt review. So that your wife has to be involved and your husband needs to be involved. So then it becomes a one-pot system. But in the, like, again, there, if that is the negative of debt review, if I'm not making payment on my accounts and I'm married in community of property, the bank can go after my spouse, because they are liable for that debt anyway. So that is the point of going in together as in community of property, because if you are not going in together, then the bank can take legal action against your spouse. But if you are both under debt review, it means the debt review process is protecting both of you.
Yes,
But I
both
mean,
are.
you don't have an option. You have to go in together anyway.
And for those people who are actually listening, when I, for instance, sell something, and then they want to go and ask, but at the spouse, is it basically something that we should buy? Then oftentimes the spouse cannot explain it well. So I would suggest, don't listen to me, listen to the experts, have your partner speak to you guys, or come and listen to this episode, and then reach out to you and have you guys do the talking, because it makes it clear.
Many people. I mean, like I say, I've been in this industry for 16 years, so I've seen a lot of things. And, it's cultural. There's many reasons why people are still getting married in community of property, and it has its place, I guess. But when it comes to these types of situations, a lot of times the husband doesn't tell his wife that he's actually even got debt.
Yeah.
And having that conversation is an absolute no-no. I cannot tell my wife. I've had a couple many years ago that came to see me, and he was open to his wife, and he said, look, she had a really good job. She had no debt. Everything, well, she had debt. She had a car and so forth, and but she was managing all her stuff fine, and she really had a good position at her employment. And she just said, I'm terribly sorry, but I'm not willing to put myself on a debt review. I didn't make this debt, and I don't see why I should be punished. What can be done? And I said, well, there's two options. You
Yes.
either get divorced, or you can re-register your marriage, but that's a very costly exercise, because that's a high court application to change it from in community of property to with a or out of community of property. And they ended up getting divorced and getting remarried, thank the Lord, because that was a terrible time in my life. It was like I was being tugged in different directions
Wow.
on a Christianity level,
Yes,
just as
yes.
a human, as anything and everything inside me was being ripped apart. Having to even say that out loud was horrible for me. But they were the most beautiful people. And they did get divorced so that he could go under debt review, and then got remarried just in out of community of property afterwards.
That's unfortunately the only way.
Yeah. So it's a heart-rending situation to have to say that to somebody, but
Yes.
the fact of the matter is that we are both liable in the end of the day. And today, the women aren't the stay-at-home,
Yeah, the providers.
I'll be at
Yes.
home raising children type of woman anymore.
As well.
Women are educated, women are working, women are making big salaries, and yet still getting married in community of property. And that's got nothing to do, I mean, that's a conversation for a completely different day. But, people are always of the opinion that when you're getting married out of community of property, it's because you're already planning your divorce. And I'm always saying, but it's not really planning your divorce, it's planning your life. Do you plan on staying the same for the rest of your life? Are you planning on evolving? Are you planning on becoming bigger and better? Because being bigger and better means that there is a certain risk element attached to that as well. So if I'm going to start my own business, and I'm going to start Debtsmart, and I'm going to have my own business, my husband, does he need to be part of that, or is it mine? Is it my legacy that I'm building up? Obviously, he'll be part of it, but there's that
Yes.
growth aspect. It's got nothing to do with getting divorced and planning a
Planning
divorce.
on-
Yes, that's
yes.
an extra part of it too. But in the end of the day, do I want to stay the same? Do I want to just be who I am today? No, I want to be bigger, and I want to be better, and I want to grow as I get older. So you're legally protecting yourselves in that instance too.
And that is where it comes in again, in terms of getting the education early. Because if we get that education out early, then people can, I wouldn't say get married the right way, but get married with...
can say
with
I don't think anyone's going to crucify you
Yes.
for that, because it is the more educated way of getting married today. But unfortunately, not a lot of people are aware of that.
Yes, people are not ready for this conversation. Getting married out of community of property, and basically planning your life. Not that you're planning it without your spouse, but at the end of the day, like my friend actually got divorced on paper, and then he married as well, because the one will maybe be the house taker, and the one will provide the stability.
Not
So
everybody's the same. That's why we get married.
yeah.
Because if you had two people that were exactly the same, wouldn't life be very boring?
So the house taker, if he manages or she manages to not make success out of it, then they don't come after the other party. But like I say, and I can understand how you were ripped apart as a Christian, because the Bible says
I cried many
that
tears.
God hates
I
divorce.
did cry many tears, and I went and saw my minister, and I had a long chat to him about it as well. And I just said, look, I mean, I don't know. And we prayed about it, and I felt a little bit better afterwards, because I know that they got remarried, and it wasn't the end of their marriage.
Yes.
After years and years of marriage. It was really just for the right reasons that they did it. But it was a wow.
No,
That was a heart sore moment.
And then just not to freak everyone out, for the people that is still married in community of property, don't worry.
Yes, yes, please, please.
Please, you don't have to go get divorced now
Yeah.
because of this. Please don't.
No, no,
We
no,
can
no,
help
no.
you. And education again.
Yes.
If you come ready and you know your spouse will have to go under debt review with you, we can handle that, and it will help you in any case.
Yeah.
So you are going
As
to
a
benefit from
household.
it. Yeah.
As
As
a
a household, you're
household.
going to benefit from it. So please don't go and get a divorce. You don't
No,
need to. You don't
please.
have to.
please.
Please don't have to me. No, rather talk to us first.
Yes, yes, yes. Because like I said that you guys obviously puts things, especially these things, into perspective, and one understands it best.
You know, with all the negative things that get said about debt review, I can understand when you're going home and you're speaking to your spouse and you say the word debt review. Most people are aware that when you're married in commercial property, it means it is going to impact both of us. As much as what people will say, oh, we didn't know, they did know. Because I always find that that's the first comment that comes back is, yeah, but now that impacts both of us. But when the new curtains were being hung in the house and you knew for a fact that there wasn't money for those things, did you ask where it came from? You were part and parcel of it. So let's do it and get it over and done with and move on with a fresh start where you both can then, you know, start fresh. But having these things hanging over you and one person drowning in debt because you don't want to both go under debt review, it's not worth the stress in your marriage, in your life. It isn't worth it.
I hope I'm not throwing you guys under the bus, but I saw a new trend happening now. Let's say it's Black Friday, then they come and say, you know what, you can pay this for over the next 3 months.
Buy now, pay later.
Buy now, pay later.
Yes.
Those kind of things, because retailers and businesses, they try always to get the consumer to actually
sale.
get themselves in this jail, what I call it basically. So what is Debtsmart doing in terms of education to bring awareness to the consumer out there?
So Renee and I are very busy at the moment. We're doing employee wellness. We largely involved in that. So employers, we are approaching employers. We are getting out there. HR managers.
Yes.
We're sitting with them and explaining that there's no cost involved to the company whatsoever. But a happy, healthy employee, and I know mental health is a big conversation on a day-to-day basis because it is affecting our nation. But mental wellness is not only because of what big mental reasons. I mean, mental wellness, debt has got a massive impact on our mental wellness too. And if we can alleviate that from your life, then so education on a debt level, on a finance budgeting, just basic information.
Small snippets on what
Yeah.
you can do.
Yes.
Like an example, it's December now. Everyone is getting bonuses. So now you already have a long list of what you're going to buy with your bonus. Instead of using that money and pay off some of your accounts, save on that interest rate that you're paying. That's a small little snippet that someone can use and utilize to make things better for themselves.
But that doesn't sound too sexy. But nonetheless.
No, you and me, Renee, I have to say that. You just
Yes,
really put a bummer on
but that's definitely what we should
Small
do.
thing, a small
It's all of
thing
these
that you
small
can
things
change.
because you're
So
going to
we
have a
are-
much better year next year
Yes.
should you do that now.
Positive start to the year. I think if you start on a positive note, and even, we've got so many people finding out about debt review now, but I'm not going to do it now. I'm only going to come in January because I don't want to tie myself down
Yes.
now before. What is better than starting your year off fresh with all your finances in order, with you having a budget set out nicely, with everyone knowing what is going on and where everything is going and who's going to get paid and who's not going to. We're not going to start the December or end the December off with Peter, you getting paid this month, but Paul, you don't look good to
You have
me.
to wait.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
you'll
yes.
have to wait till
Wait till 2
January,
months.
and then that's even a maybe. We're not too sure about you either. Start your journey now. Now is the right time, not in a month's time or 2 months' time, because it's never going to be the right time.
Sure.
But it is going to be the right time now. When you look at December comes, January comes, and now all of a sudden, you're breathing easier. You know where everything's going. Your finances are sorted. Your installments have been brought down. It's more affordable for you to pay your debt, and you can go stress-free into a new year. And that mental wellness that we're talking about, I'm not going in there heavy-hearted and heavy-handed. I've just gone through the December holidays with people phoning me constantly, and now I'm starting the new year off back at work and with the same problems, the same stresses. So our big thing is educating. That's what we're doing at the moment.
As we're wrapping up, I've started to change certain things in my home.
Yeah.
I grew up in a home where you are not even told happy birthday. That's how little we care about birthdays. But when it comes to my wife, they celebrate birthdays. So I had to learn to actually celebrate it, etc. But growing up the way I grew up, I had decided a few years ago, you know what? For birthdays, as a birthday present, I will basically buy an asset without having to explain too much. Basically, buy something that will appreciate in value instead of just doing it the traditional way. And next year, you must just get a new present or whatever because last year's one doesn't have any value. What tips can you share with people today? What changes can we
I'd
make?
start off with saving, putting away 100 rand a month if you can afford it.
Sure.
Do that,
Especially for your children.
Yeah, for your children. Open up a savings account for them. Put that money away instead of when you need it, then you don't have to go borrow money to do something.
I think I always use a simple example. A child going from primary school to high school. If I take myself into account here, my son, when he went from primary school, his school fees were 1,250 rand a month, and then went to high school, and his school fees were 5,600 rand. Where did that difference come from? Because you can't budget for that if you tried. Because my salary didn't increase in 1 year. Or in 1
fivefold.
month by 5,000 rand. It stayed exactly the same. So those are the type of things when you're putting money away with those unexpected, take into account kids going from primary school to high school. There's a massive jump in school fees, and then we go from high school to studying after school. Get your savings up and running at a very young age and leave it there. Don't touch it. You got to force yourself, no matter how tough times are, rather say no than take from that fund, because you're going to need it one day. And that one day comes so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, without you blinking an eye, and all of a sudden your kids are out of school and going to study, and what have you put away for that? Where's that money coming from? We can't all depend on subsidies, and that doesn't. It's not for everybody, and not everybody's guaranteed that either. But you want your kids to be better, and you want your kids to achieve more than what we have. Every generation does. So for that reason, make sure that you're putting money away. I totally agree with Renee.
Even if it's a small bit, just put something away. If you've got it, put it away. You don't have to put the same amount away every month, as long as you're doing something. And paying installments. If your installment is 300 rand, but you can afford 350 rand, why would you not do that?
Sure.
Pay more than what you should.
Yeah.
There's obviously a difference between saving and investing, but I'm sure that you guys will be able to provide financial help.
I think they come hand in hand. Yeah, look, we do obviously refer, because we are not allowed to give financial advice in that regard, but we do have partners that we work with, that we do refer to, because there again, education is key. When I've over the years come across so many people, government employees who have got deductions coming off their payslip as long as my arm, and I've got quite long arms. And it's all the same companies, and it's somebody that stood outside the gate giving a boerewors roll and a can of Coke out and signed this policy, and there you go, you've got a policy. Are you even, what are you insured for? If something happened to you tomorrow,
do you even
your
know
family know
where to go and knock?
No. Do they know that you have a funeral policy? Do they know who to contact for that funeral policy? Those are all things that people take for granted, and we might know and understand that because we work in that field every day. But the man of the street is not educated always to know that. Financial advisors are free. You
Yes.
don't pay to have a financial
Yeah.
advisor. It's not for the rich and famous, and it's not only for white people, and it's not only a financial advisor is there so that if something happens to you, there's one designated person that's dealing
Yes.
with all your
Oh.
financial needs. Those things are important to know. But who's going to tell you that? They're not going to teach you that at school.
Definitely not.
Your parent, I mean, my niece turned, she just started her first job. So she had her first real employment, and she went and bought a car, and she had a little bit of savings that she didn't know what to do with. And I said to her, please God, don't listen to your mother, because my sister is old. I hope she's not listening to this. She's a lot older than what I am, but don't go the old way of you must go to the green and purple place and get your insurance from them, and have somebody
Yes.
that is going to deal with
Plan.
you on a one-on-one basis, the same
Yes.
as debt review. You go and see somebody because every person's situation is different. Your situation is completely different to my situation. Your income is different to my income. Renee's situation is completely different to my situation. Everybody's different. So you want an altered, I always say we are like the boutique hotel of debt review. You come to us because we do a one-on-one, it is altered to your personal needs and your specifications. Financial advisors, same thing. Somebody that's looking, when people phone me and they, I've got this policy to study, and then I say, thank you very much, I have a financial advisor. If I need anything, I'm 100% certain he will contact me and say, Gaino, it's time to up your things, and it's time to look at this, that, and the next thing. I have one person. If something happens to me tomorrow, my children know, my husband knows
One
who
person.
to contact, that one person. But now when you've got 145 deductions coming off your salary, above and beyond the fact that you can't afford half of them, are they even worth the paper or the money that you're paying for them? Are you overinsured? Are you, you don't know any of that information because you're not sitting with one designated person. So
Wow.
again, education is key. This is why we are doing the wellness days, educating people, presentations, explaining to people what life is really about, what finances are about. It is sometimes a lot cheaper to actually get a insurance policy from a broker that's sitting down with you and shopping for the best possible price for you than for picking up a phone and phoning a call center and saying, I need to insure my vehicle. Can you please give me a price? But we don't know that how, because it's only
one
for
tells you
the
that,
only for the rich and famous. No, it's not. It's really not. It's for everybody. We should all be following these people. That's why they're educated, and that's why they are where they are and doing what they do.
Wow. I really feel that this was a masterclass because I've been educated. I trust that, guys, you got a lot from this. In fact, if you are still watching, that means that you got value from this. Family, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for having
Debtsmart.
me.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And where can people get hold of you guys?
So Debtsmart, we're on Facebook. You can look us up there. We do post there as much as we possibly can, but you can get hold of me. My name is Gaynor, and my cell phone number, so I'm on WhatsApp 24/7 with our clients. My cell phone number is 082-897-5760. And my email address is Gaynor, GAYNOR, at debtsmartsa.co.za. We also have an office line, which is 041-364-0978. And then Renee.
I can be contacted at 082-4323-766, Renee de Villiers. My email is renee, RENE, at debtsmartsa.co.za. So please feel welcome to contact us with any questions. You don't have to come under Debt Review to ask a few questions. We're willing to help and assist where we can.
Fantastic. Thank you so
Is
much.
there a minute for one last
Yes, most definitely.
which is of absolute importance that we should have discussed from the beginning, is for those people that are stuck in debt review. That
Yes,
don't know
yes,
which
yes.
way to get out. That is so important. So currently our fees with regards to exiting debt review, clearance certificates, issuing of a clearance certificate. So I'm going to say again, and I did say this earlier, the only way to get out of debt review is by means of a clearance
Clearance
certificate.
certificate
You
for
cannot
all
go
of
to
you.
court. You cannot have the debt review court order rescinded. None of that stuff works. It can only be done by a debt counselor and by means of a clearance certificate. So you can get a clearance certificate if all your debt is paid up or prescribed. So if you have all your paid up letters and you have a copy of your court order, the cost for that by law is 450 Rand. So for people who are being phoned and told that we can help you get it off, we can rescind your court order, we can perform miracles, we can do cartwheels, it's going to cost you 8,000, 9,000. I've had people that have phoned me and said they've even been charged 16,000 Rand. It cannot be done. They are going to scam you. They're going to take your money and do nothing for you. The cost of it is 450 Rand, and all you need is a copy of your court order and your paid up letters. So they are most welcome to also contact us if they need more information. But please don't pay people 16,000 Rand to take you off debt review. That's not going to happen.
Luckily, I didn't pay 16,000 and I paid 22.
What? No, stop it.
Indeed.
Oh,
8,000 for my wife and
goodness.
15 for me, something like that. 23, something like that.
And it worked.
But it could have costed me 450. But okay, I paid up everything. I had everything. Everything was paid up. I just couldn't get my name clear. I was like,
Now
just
that
take
is-
this.
That is
Our
the
fees are-
450 Rand that Gaino was talking
Yeah,
about.
our fees are very regulated, very regulated. So
By
we
law.
fall under the National Credit Regulator, and all our fees are regulated. So we can't just charge for anything and everything weird and wonderful.
Yeah.
And the look, I have to tell you, I personally think that it's way too little.
Yes, no, definitely.
All that hard
But
work, but yeah.
regulation is 450 Rand for a clearance certificate. And that is also only if you are not, if you have not completed the process of debt review through your debt counselling or with your debt counsellor.
Yes.
So if you've paid all your debt with your debt counsellor right until the end, you get your clearance certificate, there's no cost involved in that
Yeah.
because your aftercare fee that is paid monthly,
Includes that.
that includes your clearance certificate at the end. But if you exited the debt review process after a couple of months, a year, whatever, and now 5 years, 6 years, 10 years down the line, you want to get yourself out of debt review and you don't know which way to go, that cost is 450 Rand to get that done. And it can only be done by a clearance certificate.
You guys are my
I cannot say
go-to.
this enough.
My go-to people. Everyone I speak to from here going forward. Thank you so much
welcome.
for
You're
such a
all
pleasure.
of the
Absolute
information you
pleasure.
shared. Hey family, your support to the Lucian Godfrey podcast has been amazing thus far. If it was your first time watching, please let us know in the comments what your experience was like and which one stood out for you. Please do subscribe to our channel to be notified the next time when we upload another video. Thank you so much.